Welcome to Coyote's Corner. This episode we'll be listening to Michael Lang tell Fafnie the Dragon.
Far away, on the Isle of Pharos, there's a great mountain that rises up into the clouds, where the dragons make their dens. On warm summer days, they soar to the fjords, the cliffs that overlook the western shore. They dance and they play in the morning mist, and people gather from miles around to watch the dragons. But there is one dragon who is not like the others, Fafnie the Dragon. When he flies to the sea, he breathes fire everywhere. He frightens the people. Sometimes he hurls himself to the ground, crushing everything in his path. On a warm summer day, a farm boy named Ziggy and his dog, Duke, were walking the family cow out to pasture when all of a sudden Fafnie soared overhead. He breathed a great cloud of fire, rolled upon his back, and came crashing down on the barn, shattering it into splinters. Ziggy was horrified. What if the cow had been in there? She would have been crushed. Or what if that had been the farmhouse? It was time that something was done about Fafnie. There was only one way to handle a bad dragon like him. Ziggy would have to find the sharpest sword in all the land, the bravest steed in all the land, and face the terrible Fafnie in battle. Ziggy started by tying the cow to a fence post and making sure that she had plenty of grass. Then he went into the farmhouse and began looking around for a sword. He looked everywhere he could think. Under his bed, in the back of the closet, between the cushions of the couch. But there was no sword to be found, not a single one. Then he went into the kitchen, and he saw the drawer where his mother kept the sharp kitchen knives. Ziggy knew he was not supposed to touch any of those knives, but he needed a sword, and a sword is really just a large knife. So he climbed atop a stool, he opened the drawer and looked over all the knives. He selected the largest. It had a great wooden handle, a thin, pointy tip. It may not have been the sharpest sword in all the land, but it was certainly the best knife in all the kitchen. Now he needed a brave steed. He went outside and he looked around. All he saw was the cow, and she didn't look that brave. She just stood there, grazing and chewing and grazing. But at that moment, he heard a garf, garf, garf. He turned just in time to be tackled off his feet by Duke. And as Duke licked at his face, Ziggy thought, well, Duke is brave. And he's loyal, too. All the things that a knight needs from his trusty steed. So he clipped a leash onto Duke's collar. Duke, are you ready to go fight Fafnie? Grrr! Duke was ready. They set out that very afternoon, climbing up the western slope of the mountain, over wind-swept ridges and jagged crags, till they came to a large, dark cave, where they heard shh, Fafnie's sleeping. They crept into the darkness, deeper and deeper into the cave. In the faint light, Ziggy could just see the shape of the dragon's head, his long, scaly neck, his wings folded against his side, his clawed paws curled beneath his chin. Ziggy crept closer and closer. He clutched the knife tighter and tighter. He plunged it towards the dragon's chest and, ow! Hey! Could hurt someone with that thing. You're a bad dragon, Fafnie. When you fly to the sea, you breathe fire everywhere. You frighten people. You ruin our houses. Whoa! You got it all wrong. I mean, it's true that I fly to the sea. That's what us dragons do, but I have allergies. Salty air makes me sneeze, and when we dragons sneeze, we breathe fire. I can't help it. Poor dragon, thought Ziggy. Poor dragon with allergies, but what if he was really a bad dragon, and he was lying about his allergies? Ziggy thought, and he had an idea. All right, Fafnie, let's go down to the eastern side of the island where we can talk. Ziggy knew that no one lived on that side of the island. If Fafnie was really a bad dragon who just liked to breathe fire and hurt people, he'd have no reason to breathe fire over there. But if it was really his allergies, the minute they got into the salty sea air, Fafnie should begin to sneeze. And if what he said was true, when dragons sneeze, they breathe fire. So together, Ziggy, Duke, and Fafnie went down the eastern slope of the mountain, and sure enough, when they got near the sea, there was a achoo! And a great cloud of fire, and another achoo! And a great cloud of fire. Oh, Fafnie, I'm sorry I didn't believe you. I think I know someone who can help you. But it was getting late, Ziggy needed to get home before his parents started to worry. So he said goodbye, promised to come back the next morning. Then he and Duke hurried home. The next morning, first thing, Ziggy went straight to the local doctor's office, and he told the doctor that there was a dragon who needed help. The doctor was not thrilled at the thought of making a house call to a dragon's den, but Ziggy begged and he pleaded, "It's not his fault. He needs help. He has allergies." At last, the doctor agreed. He put a few things into his bag, then he followed Ziggy and Duke up the wind-swept ridges and jagged crags till they came to that large, dark cave. Fafnie! Fafnie, wake up! I brought someone to help you. Fafnie crawled out of his den. He stretched and he yawned, and he saw the doctor. He was nervous. Fafnie had never been to a doctor before, but he agreed to lie still and let the doctor examine him. The doctor started by taking his temperature, for that is what all doctors do. It was a blazing 968 degrees Fahrenheit, but that's normal for a dragon. Then the doctor listened to his heart, listened to his lungs, looked into his mouth. "Well, Fafnie, you seem to be a healthy dragon for your height and weight. You could use some more vegetables in your diet, though. Now, Ziggy tells me you have some allergy troubles." "Uh-huh." The doctor reached into his bag. He had a small bottle of sea salt. He opened the bottle. With a pair of long-handled tongs, he held out a pinch of the salt. Achoo! There was a great cloud of fire. "Goodness gracious! We'll have to get you started on some medicine right away." The doctor wrote out a prescription, and the very next day, Fafnie began taking his medication. Within a few days, his allergies cleared up. He could soar to the fjords, dance and play with the other dragons without so much as a sniffle. He felt bad, though. Ziggy had done so much to help him, and he had ruined Ziggy's barn. There was only one thing he could do. He went into the deepest, the darkest forest, and used his tail to chop down a few trees. Then he split those trees into lumber, and carried all that lumber to Ziggy's house. Together, they rebuilt the barn. To this day, Fafnie still takes his medicine. Every now and then, he gives Ziggy a ride. So if you ever go to the Isle of Pharos, go to the fjords, the cliffs that overlook the western shore. You just might see the dragons dancing in the mist, or hear laughter upon the breeze.
That was Michael Lang telling Fafnie the Dragon. I'm sitting down with Michael now to get a little background on the story and see where it came from. Thank you, Michael.
Absolutely, Toby.
So, Fafnie the Dragon, where did this come from?
Well, I was trying to write my own version of a Norse saga called The Lay of Fafnir, and as I was typing out my rough draft, I accidentally hit an E instead of an R, and I was about to correct my mistake when I had this thought of, well, wait a minute, what would a dragon named Fafnir be like? And once I had that really solid mental image, I started writing that story. And this is the story that came out of it, and it is actually one of the stories I've written the fastest and told the most often.
Why do you tell this one so much? Why do you keep coming back to it?
I think one of the reasons I keep coming back to this story is that it has a really solid balance of things that children and adults like. There's a little bit of adventure, there's a little bit of suspense, there's a moral to it, but it's not a heavy-handed moral, and there is a happy ending. There are some jokes in there that children get, and there are some jokes in there that adults get. And so there's a little bit of something in this story that appeals to everyone.
Okay. Did you ever get around to finishing writing The Lay of Fafnir?
No, I never did get around to writing my own version of that saga. I sort of abandoned that idea when this story came out of it.
Well, I think everybody that's heard the story is very happy with what came out of it. So,
Thanks.
Thank you for telling this story, and
Absolutely.
thank you to our audience out there for tuning in to Coyote's Corner. If you're interested on hearing more from Mike, check out his website, coyotesinc.com. You can also buy CDs there. Fafnie the Dragon happens to be on one of those collections, Tales from the Fjords. So check it out. You can buy the CDs, get some downloads, and see where Mike is telling his stories.
And as always, don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe to the Coyote's Corner so you never miss anything that we're doing here.
And until next time, this has been the Coyote's Corner.